You ever feel like your life is just a series of random events, one thing after another? Well, what if I told you that if you look back, you can actually find a clear path, a map that not only shows you how you got here, but can also guide you to where you're going? Okay, let's dive into this, because today we're going to explore how to read the map of your own life story to intentionally design your future. All right, first up, this is a really important message for anyone out there who spends their days taking care of other people. If you're a teacher, a nurse, a leader, or hey, maybe you're just that person everyone leans on, this first part is especially for you. We're talking about something called the helper's oxygen mask and why taking care of yourself has to come first. We've all heard this a million times on an airplane, right? It's such a simple instruction, but wow, it is a profound metaphor for life, especially for those of us who are helpers. And let's be really clear, this is not selfish. It is an absolute requirement to be able to help anyone else at all. So here's the bottom line. Proper self-care isn't a luxury. It's not something you get to when you have time. It's the very foundation of being effective in the first place. The quality of what you give to others is directly tied to your own well-being. It's that old saying, you just can't pour from an empty cup. And if you ignore that advice, well, the consequences are very, very real. Constantly giving out your empathetic energy, especially when you're dealing with a lot of suffering, can lead straight to compassion fatigue, burnout, and even worse. Without an actual plan for taking care of yourself, these aren't just possibilities, they become really serious risks. Okay, so how do we build that intentional plan? Well, the solution is pretty fascinating. It involves a partnership between something truly ancient and something incredibly modern, a kind of unexpected guide to help us find our way. So here's the core idea. We're going to pair two incredibly powerful things. On one hand, you have the timeless, age-old practice of deep self-reflection. And on the other, a very modern tool, your own AI assistant. I know, it might sound a little bit unusual, but this combination can be a real game changer for gaining personal insight. Just think about it for a second. You could take your journal entries, feed them into a tool like ChatGPT, and ask it to find recurring themes. Or you could use it as a sounding board for your thoughts. When you use it thoughtfully like that, it stops being just a productivity hack. It actually becomes a partner on your personal growth journey. And this brings us right to the main framework for this whole process. We're going to start looking at your life not just as a random series of events, but as a story, with a plot and themes. And we're going to do it through a process called preflection. So what in the world is preflection? Well, it's pretty simple. It's the act of looking backward to really understand the connections in your life. But, and this is the important part, it's not just for old time's sake. It's about using that understanding to consciously and intentionally plan your path forward. You could call it reflection with a mission. I absolutely love this metaphor. While life is happening, it can totally feel like you're a pinball, right? Just bouncing from one bumper to the next, seemingly at random. But when you look back, when you pre-reflect, you start to see how hitting that one bumper actually sent you exactly where you needed to go. All of a sudden, that chaotic path starts to look like a coherent journey. And the key to this whole process? It's writing. As the great William Zinsser put it, writing is a powerful search mechanism. It's how we connect the dots, how we find those patterns, and how we begin to understand and even find peace in our own life story. Okay, so let's say you're ready to write your story, but where do you even start? We can use a timeless map that's been part of stories for centuries, the hero's journey. It gives us a perfect structure for our exploration. So let's walk through some of the key stages on your path. Think about your awakening, that moment you realized the world was way more complex. Then, who were your teachers, the role models who really shaped you? What was your big leap? That one risk that changed your whole trajectory? Think about the treasures, the big aha moments you've had. And finally, how can you share your wisdom? Because that responsibility to pay it forward is part of the journey too. Now, look, this journey isn't always easy. It often means stepping into what's called a liminal space, that messy gray area of uncertainty. But as this quote reminds us, the biggest growth always comes from confronting that fear and stepping into the unknown. That's where the real treasure is found. So after all this mapping and all this reflecting, what's the ultimate goal here? What's the destination of this journey? It's to become your own guru. The ultimate goal is to close the loop. Now, what does that mean? It's a state of mind where you realize that everyone you meet and every single experience you have good or bad, is your teacher. You end up in this constant state of learning and self-guidance. And this brings us to what might be the most important takeaway of all. After all the reflection, the writing, the mapping, the guide you're truly searching for isn't somewhere out there. It's that small, quiet voice deep inside you. It's your intuition, your higher self. It's your own inner wisdom. So, we'll end with this question. Every event, every person, every challenge in your past, it has all created a unique map just for you. It's there, and it's waiting to be read. The only question left is, are you ready to pick it up and see where it leads you next?